Hello and welcome to Pastor Well. This is Hershael York. I'm the Dean of the School of Theology at the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary in Louisville, Kentucky, and pastor of the Buck Run Baptist Church in Frankfort. Pastor Well is dedicated to helping those who serve the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ be faithful in ministry. And we love to have great Christian leaders and preachers and teachers on Pastor Well. We couldn't get anybody in that category today, so we've got Kevin Ezell, the president of the North American Mission Board of the Southern Baptist Convention. I say that jokingly because this guy and I tease each other an awful lot. We are dear friends going back a long way, and all kidding aside, welcome Dr. Kevin Ezell to Pastor Well. Glad you're here.
Hey, I'm thrilled to be here. I know you're just trying to widen your base. You have D.A. Carson. Now, me on the other extreme, you have a Kevin Ezell, the redneck side of.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much you and D.A. Carson have in common, but you're different guys. I do want to talk about this. You are a different kind of preacher than most guys I know.
Yeah.
Let me just sort of tell the setup, and then I'm going to ask you a little bit about your background. When Tanya and I left Ashland Avenue Baptist Church in 1997 and moved to Louisville,
right.
You had completed about 1 year as pastor of the Highview Baptist Church, where you were serving there.
Right. And
we joined there, and you were my pastor for about 7 years.
Right. Started discipling in. Now look where you are.
Yeah, that's right. You did a great job. Thank you. Now here's the thing. Tell me how do you see yourself as a preacher?
Not very good, to be honest.
First of all, I knew that was going to be your answer. You really are a very good preacher. You go about it differently than I do, but you are a different preacher. But here's the thing that shocked me about you at Highview. I would say you are a fantastic leader, and I think you would say that's your strength too, wouldn't you?
It's my strength.
Yeah. So you see yourself as a very accomplished leader. You see yourself as not as good of a preacher and a Bible teacher.
Right.
So what did you do at Highview to shore up that weakness?
I surrounded myself with the very best communicators I could find.
All right. That is the stunning thing. All right. Who you had preaching around you and with you at Highview.
Right.
Al Mohler.
Right.
Russell Moore.
Right.
Danny Aiken.
Right. Tom Rayner.
Mm-hmm. I preached
Hershael
the 11
York.
o'clock service for 3 years.
Right.
I'm going to say there aren't many preachers that would, first of all, have the guts to do that.
Right.
And secondly, would be able to do it and still maintain their leadership.
Well, you throw Jimmy Scroggins in there as well.
That's right. Jimmy Scroggins.
He's our student minister.
Was your student minister.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Scroggins, pastor of one of the Southern Baptist Convention's largest churches, and he's an incredible leader himself now. So you were surrounded by great preachers, teachers, and leaders, and yet you were always in control. You were never out of control. How did you do that?
Well, no, it was a lot of fun. I wanted the very best for my people, and so my word, if I thought a videotape of Adrian Rogers would have done the trick, I'd have done that too. I just really wanted them to be exposed to the very best, and to call it what it is. You have to know who you are, be comfortable in your skin, and each of those guys are gifted in a very unique way, and the styles even of those guys are very different.
Yeah,
our people loved it though, and they never complained. And if you ever want to get to where they don't complain when you're gone, surround yourself with 6 of the best communicators in North America, and people will greatly appreciate it.
It's been fascinating that from those we just mentioned, guys that were members at Highview Baptist Church, with you as their pastor, became presidents of a lot of Southern Baptist agencies, pastors of mega churches.
Just like we planned it in your basement, smoking cigars that night.
We plotted the takeover of evangelical Christianity.
Yeah, they thought it was from Southern, but actually it's Highview under the scene.
It was Kevin Ezell taking over all of it. Those were great days, and
Fantastic.
They really, frankly, stepping out of the pastorate like I did at Ashland Avenue, coming there to Highview, It was a challenge for me not being in the pastorate for a while, but you giving me an outlet was a great blessing. I'm still very grateful.
Well, you're kind, and you know this. I mean, God, I believe, providentially did that to provide a friend for me to walk through some very challenging days. I followed a pastor who had fallen morally after pastoring for over 2 decades in that church, and it's very difficult for people to walk through it, but to follow that is very challenging. And you and Tanya are very, some of the most dearest friends we have, and so and those times, my word, we look back all the time and laugh about some of those challenges, but I really believe God sent you there, for, if nothing else, to walk with us through, so we had some real friends to do it.
It's important to have friends in ministry, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's scary to trust people at times, but you have to. It's just so much more fun to be able to walk through the journey together, and also, the hard times to have. As you know, I call you all the time, walk through things.
You can't vent to your people sometimes that because sometimes they're the source of your grief,
right?
And sometimes there are things in your life that you don't want their pity. You can't just open up. But to have someone else who's a friend in ministry who has been through similar things, and you can sort of vent to each other and pray to each other, and it's important, isn't it?
Yeah, it's important to have somebody you don't have to explain. You don't have to worry about how they're going to interpret it or how they're going to take it. They love you with warts and all.
Yeah,
and that's an incredible blessing. I've learned that more and more. Even recently, it's just so helpful to be able to, as you walk through life, not to go it alone. And
do you think preachers in general, and specifically leaders of large institutions and churches, do you think they have a challenge developing friendships?
Oh, absolutely. I think things like social media don't make it any. It's easier for people to throw bombs and run.
Yeah.
And so, absolutely, it's very challenging out there. For the smallest, minute type of critic can try to get the largest, bang for something, and it's more of a vulture. I hate to say it sounds like I'm so negative, but every day it's just like people are looking for gotcha moments.
They are.
For anything and everything. And so just
often in the name of Jesus.
Oh my gosh, in a very pious sanctum. It's just disgusting to watch and read sometimes.
It is hurtful sometimes.
Yeah. I'm not bitter at all about it.
Well, when you lead a large organization like you do,
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be open to that.
Oh yeah.
And you're going to get hit. People are going to second guess you.
Yeah, but let's not talk about my mother, okay?
How have you dealt with it? How long have you been at the North American Mission Board?
I've been there 8 years and 11 months, 2 weeks.
Yeah, but who's counting? And so how's it been? What have been the challenges of it? That public aspect.
No, it's been a learning experience. When I was pastor, there was not a problem or an issue I didn't feel like I couldn't solve at Cracker Barrel. Meet me tomorrow morning, 6:00, and let's talk through it. And it was easier to do that. Denominationally, because it's all over North America, and some of the things I did not anticipate. The lack of integrity of many people I have to deal with. That's the part I didn't anticipate, and it's just much easier in the church, in one sense, because you people knew you. And it's
all relational.
It's all relational.
Yeah.
And so now, I was not used to people second guessing my character, not knowing me, and then trying to guess what I'm trying to do or have some ulterior motive. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that wore me out at first. It still bothers me a bit at times, just because it just doesn't have to be that way. But it's gotten better. I still prefer pastoring if I could.
Yeah.
But I really feel called to do what I'm doing. But pastoring is a far higher call.
Now, the ironic thing is you're an incredibly relational person. And I see you with people. I often envy you because I'm more of an introvert. You seem to be an extrovert. You're great with people. So you have built relationships. The way you have led is you really build a network of relationships.
Yeah, it makes it hard when you're in a denominational position where you're kind of corner office over there. And you're isolated a lot. And as pastor, you aren't. You're constantly out there and connecting to people, and so.
And every Sunday, you're going to get to see your people.
Yeah.
You get to see them, and if there's somebody strayed away from your heart a little bit, you're going to get that opportunity to pull them back in.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what's hard, when you're on the phone with somebody in Alaska or something, trying to say, okay, it's hard to hang out on a FaceTime or kind of Zoom call.
Now, that goes way back with you. You grew up where?
Oh, well, I'm from Kentucky, in a small town in Kentucky. I was born in Germany. My dad was in the Air Force, the U.S. Air Force. And then I grew up in a small town in Kentucky. In
Western Kentucky.
In Western Kentucky.
Although in Kentucky we don't say Western, we say West Kentucky.
West Kentucky, right. It was Paducah, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And my folks were very faithful. Went to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. We drove by on Monday or Tuesday to see if anything was happening, so we were always there.
All right. Now, there's a story here
I've
got to have you tell. People don't know how gifted you are in so many different ways.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah. Your dad made an offer to you.
Yeah.
He'd pay you $5 for every song you learned to play on the piano, right?
Piano, right. Mm.
All right. Tell the story. You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Tell what happened. How many songs did you learn?
Yeah, I learned 4. And so it only cost him 20, obviously. But Amazing Grace, How Great Thou Art. And then There Is a Fountain Filled with Blood. And then the 4th song, my mom had bought me this secular book. And so I was trying to figure out, learn some songs. And I was just looking for easy songs. I wasn't looking for, songs I knew necessarily, just the easier ones. Like trying to get $5. Long story short, I think where you're headed was one Sunday night in our church, the pianist did not show up. And the backup pianist didn't show up. And the deacons were all together praying before the service. And Brother Don, our pastor at the time, said, man, we're kind of in a bind. We don't have anybody to play tonight. And so it looks like we're just going to have to sing a cappella. My dad said, well, my word, Kevin knows some songs. He knows how Amazing Grace, all the songs. You just have him do it. And, of course, I was about 12 years old at the time. And he said, you sure? He said, oh, yeah. So he said, hey, Charlie, it was our music guy. And he said, hey, get Kevin. He knows some songs. Just do his. And so he said, how many you know? And I said, I know 4. And he goes, great. We'll do the first 3, and then the 4th one, you just do that for the offertory. And I said, but he goes, no, look, what are they? And I said, it's Amazing Grace, Fountain Filled Blood, and Jesus. There's something about that name. That's what it was. And I said, in the 4th one, he said, no, I don't care, just offertory, just play it. It doesn't matter. And I said, and he goes, just play it. We've got to go. It's 5 minutes till the service. Let's do it in that order. I said, okay. So we did Amazing Grace. It went real well. It was real funny. You see my mom and dad, they were so
proud of their son.
Oh, my word, man. This is what we had prayed for, Second song, it was going down. I had the runs in and hope it. I was wearing it out. Third song, Jesus, something about that name. I mean, we created such a worshipful atmosphere.
Great Sunday night service.
Then it came to the offertory, and they finished the prayer, and he just looked over at me and go. And okay. And then I started playing sun goes down on a silky day, quarter moon walking through the Milky Way. You and me, baby, we could think of something to do. It's the right time. It's your podcast.
Yeah, it's the right time of the night for making love.
Right.
You played that in a Baptist church on Sunday night.
Yeah, there was more movement in the offertory than they had ever had.
Your dad couldn't talk about that for years.
For years. He was so mad. I said, look, it's not my fault they knew the words of the song.
Yeah, man. That's funny.
That's typical of my life. Things like that happen.
One time I had to bring that up to your dad, brought it up to, and he still turned red about it.
Yeah. Well, it was real funny. My dad had such a high view of the church.
Yeah.
And he has a very high view of the pastorate. So when they had called me about NAM, the North American Mission Board, he said, I told him, Dad, they're looking at me to be president. Oh, that's good. So can you do that and pastor? And I said, oh, no, sir, it's a full-time job, and, I have to move to Atlanta. And so, oh, okay, well, so you're not going to be a pastor? I said, no, not if they elect me. And so the day I called him, I said, hey, Dad, they just elected me to be president of the North American Mission Board. He says, well, that's good. That's good. You going to sell your mower? That's all he had for me. You going to sell your mower? He wanted my riding mower. Not too impressed.
Well, you started out. Tell me about your first church you pastored.
Yeah, the first church I pastored was in Fort Worth, Texas.
You were a student at Southwestern?
Yes, I voted in 7-0, my only unanimous call. And we actually, don't underestimate it, we were on TV, on national TV, actually. We were on the show, What You Gonna Do When They Come For You? You know, Cops. Actually, we really were.
You really
Cops.
were?
We really were. And it's a real rough area of Fort Worth. And so they voted me in 7-0. We grew to 50. We're the fastest growing church in Fort Worth 2 years in a row.
That's a great percentage.
Absolutely. That's why I tell Jimmy Draper all the time. He was at Euless at the time.
Right.
I said, hey, when you were there, I was blowing smoke right past you, baby.
And from there you went to...
From there I went to Hartsville, Tennessee, and it was my very first full-time church, ran about 80. And that's where, it was a real country tobacco growing area. And I remember one time I went to, the cattle auction to get to know people. I'm very relational. I was looking for everybody, and they were all at the cattle auction on Tuesdays. And walked in there in my sweater vest and khakis, and they all stopped, and everybody stopped. Even the cow looked at me like, "What are you doing here?" And next time I went back, I was trying to connect with people, so I got a Tootsie Roll, put it in my lip, styrofoam cup, and started connecting. They thought it was funny, like this guy will do anything to connect,
Yeah.
So, but it was a great time. We were there 2 years, and we were there about 2.5 years, and then went to Marion, Illinois, for 5 years, and then went to Highview for 14, and to NAM now for almost 9.
I met you in, I want to say 1996.
Yeah, Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ronnie Floyd hosted a get-together for young pastors to
Yeah.
sort of be discipled,
Yeah.
right? You had to be recommended by one of the big guys in the SBC to go to that.
Yeah.
I remember I could look around that table in my mind's eye and see Steve Gaines,
Yeah.
president of Bellevue, former president of SBC, you, Grant Etheridge.
Yeah. Kai Bowman. Yeah. That's incredible.
Myself, yeah. It was, you had no idea in 1996 what God was going to do with our lives.
No, I'd just gotten to Highview and was in the midst of being all kinds of stuff.
And I was within a year of going to Southern.
Yeah.
It was really an incredible moment. And then we became friends and just watched your kids grow and you develop.
Yeah.
It's just it's a great thing to see God's hand on you.
Well, you're kind, but it was really fun to as families, to be able to root for your kids and you root for mine. Most people don't know your wife Tanya went with my wife to adopt our very first child.
Yeah, went to China.
Yeah, she was 1 the day they picked her up in China, and she just turned 18 and senior in high school.
Hard to believe that it's been that many years.
Yeah, and it's fun watching your boys go through. You hosting. What the neat thing about I always appreciate is you're a Dr. York, fantastic preacher and professor and all. But at the same time, man, you hosted youth events in your house, Bible studies. I still remember that kid that came out of your bathroom. Your house was packed.
Yeah,
he's like, you don't want to go in there.
When you host youth events in your home,
you just go with it.
You roll with it.
Yeah, the guy that was in your hot tub that time, and his parents showed up and said, "We sure hope he wasn't in the hot tub." And he'd been in there for like an hour.
Yeah, they're like,
goes into seizures.
Yeah,
let's go ahead and call his attorney right now.
Yeah, man, the life of the local church really is so important.
Yeah,
it's the front line of Christianity.
Right.
How much do you miss being a pastor?
Oh, every day, and I'm not overstating it. I really do miss it. I miss it every day. It was such an incredible calling, and just to be able to invest in people's lives. I've just had the opportunity to visit with a family before we got on here that I had pastored, and he's on his deathbed. But man, we went, so many times we played golf together and just knew all those little stories and fun things. You just watch people grow over 14 years. And the life experiences they go through, and just doing the journey together with them. Some people pastor so they can preach. I preach so I could pastor, and I just love that part.
But you are such a leader. And as at the North American Mission Board, you're having to keep a lot of plates spinning and a lot of moving parts. What are key leadership principles that you employ as you do what God's called you to do there?
Yeah. To me, it's just real basic. You surround yourself with the very best possible people. And you have to have a sense of security of who you are and who you're not. You know, what your gifts are and what they are not.
That's right.
And if you don't know who you are, it's real impossible to lead anybody else to where they can be and who they can be. So I've always tried just to surround myself with the very best people possible, you know, and that's why we have a guy like Johnny Hunt doing evangelism. I mean, nobody runs on a battery like he does. I mean, he's incredible.
Right.
And so every pastor, what I found is amazing how often guys will staff down. I mean that by the leadership capacity, so that they feel a little bit more in charge.
Adrian Rogers said it this way to me. He said, Class A people hire Class A people.
Yeah.
Class B people hire Class C people because they're threatened.
No, exactly. No, that is exactly the case.
Yeah, and you're a Class A person because you do that. You've always surrounded yourself with great people, and it shows. Especially, nowhere's that more true than your wife.
Right.
Lynette is just a phenomenal ministry wife to you.
She absolutely is.
You've been married how long?
We've been married over 35 years. She not only is fantastic, she's very patient, you know, because just the challenges of pastoring, but also transitioning to what I do now.
Yeah.
It's just been very different.
Yeah,
you know.
and you have how many children?
We have 6 kids, 2 married, and they each have 3. I have 6 grandkids, and I have an oldest son is working on his MBA out in California. And then we have 3 children we adopted. JM from the Philippines, Libby's from China, and Michael Lynn's from
Your youngest 3
Ethiopia.
are all adopted?
Yeah, that's what I would say. I have 6 kids from 4 different countries. You've heard me say that, but when we watch the Olympics, we win, you know.
That's great. And so how challenging is it being a dad while leading a big organization?
Yeah.
Do you ever feel conflict?
Yeah, we have some new basic rules, you know, like you're not allowed to Google my name, you know. And so, it's, you know, it's different. It is different because I work in in a sphere that they're not a part of.
Right.
And before, when I was in the church, they could understand what I did.
They knew your deacons. They knew your
They knew everybody.
pastors.
Yeah, they grew up there, and so it was just natural. And then this is just, it's just very different. And so we've had to adjust there. It took a while to do that. And you know, they see, you see church from a whole different perspective there. So it's been a little more difficult to get arms around it, honestly.
I would think, in fact, I went through it when I was a pastor at Ashland Avenue, and I was my son's pastor.
Mm.
And then when we moved to Louisville, suddenly you're their pastor.
Yeah.
I'm not their pastor anymore.
Yeah.
But I still wanted to speak into their lives spiritually. I mean, it was important to me that they saw me in that role as well. Has that been a challenge for you with your kids?
No, absolutely. And like I said, it's been the most difficult. And two, because a lot of Sundays now I'm gone. So we've tried to trim that down quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So it's not the case. But yeah, when 2 out of the 4 weeks in a month, you're somewhere else preaching, and they see, and it's one of the most lonely times was Sunday afternoon, sitting in an airport waiting to fly home, knowing my family had just gone to worship without me.
Yeah.
And Sunday afternoon, they're without me. I'll come in there around 7 or 8, exhausted on a Sunday night, and Monday we start again. And so I've tried to trim that back some, but it's just the nature of what I do.
Sundays is when you have to be with mm-hmm. churches and conventions and all that.
Right.
So how do you keep your balance between being a man of God, a pastor, but pastor sort of at large, right, and at the same time being over a multi-million-dollar organization? I mean, is there a balance there that you have to work to strike?
Yeah, there is. You have to be very proactive and intentional with your time, and you cannot just you can't wing it. you have got to be proactive and intentional.
Yeah.
And so, it's not as fun doing that way sometimes. I mean, it's fun to live on the spur. You just can't because of the nature of what I do. So
one of the things that I know about you is your extreme care with your own personal purity. You don't even like to travel alone. You like to take someone from NAM with you.
Right.
There's a lot of criticism these days about the so-called Billy Graham rule and all that. Tell me your thoughts about that.
Sure. We did an extensive study years ago and just found if you're never alone with someone of the opposite sex, there's a real high probability you're not going to have an affair.
That's a
spent a lot of money on that one.
Big study to come up with that, did it?
No, but some of it's just like baseball. They put a warning track in the outfield on purpose.
My wife Tanya says if you're never alone with someone, you'll never get naked with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the truth.
That's another way to say it.
The world is critical of that these days.
Oh, I know. But as I always tell folks, I'd rather be. They're like, well, you're being legalistic. He said, I probably am, but I'm also employed. You know, and so it's sometimes I think there are places to be legalistic, and the thing is, I'm trying to protect myself and also to protect others. I lived through the damage. My last 2 churches I pastored, I followed men who had fallen, and so I've seen the ugly and established some of the principles that you're referring to, at Highview, because we'd come out of a guy who'd fallen. The church had seen the ugly side of that, and said, look. I remember being in a staff meeting trying to train guys how to hug and how not to hug. And they're like, this is ridiculous. I said, no, it's not ridiculous. I just said Sunday you hugged someone and their feet left the ground. I mean, that's totally inappropriate.
Yeah.
And so, sometimes we just forget the basics and guys.
I'm proud to say this. If anyone ever made a moral accusation against you, I would tell them you're a liar. I've never seen anybody so careful with themselves morally and spiritually as you are, and you are a great blessing and an encouragement to me. And frankly, we just need more like you. Man, it's been so grievous watching so many guys fall.
Yeah.
It's messed with me. I don't know if it messes with you like it does with me. I just want to finish well. It becomes the dominant prayer of my life. Lord, let me finish well. I don't want to mess this up.
No, and I think what's amazing too is the list is not the people that you would have predicted.
No,
that's why everybody they fool themselves. Say, it would never happen to this. The people who it happens to, you just never dream. Hey, and you remember you and I were in a room when we talked to we walked a pastor out of that, trying to help him.
Yeah,
restoration. And I said, when is the moment you knew that this is happening?
Yeah, I remember his answer. I remember him describing it in great detail.
Yeah, she jumped on the back of the motorbike and put her hands around my waist.
That's right.
And you just don't, it's so stupid.
That's right. With his wife sitting right there.
Right there. Yeah.
Telling
him to do it.
Yeah. Right.
Like, y'all go ahead. I don't know. It's just... pastors just have got to, if they don't model that. You know what was interesting at Highview when we did that? We had CEOs of different companies. I had one of the highest guys at Kroger implement it in his own business. No spiritual. It's just stop the office drama. And he said it actually worked, of not going alone with someone of the opposite sex. Always take a third. And and so it's just some real practical things.
That's right. We're not denying anybody opportunity to do all that they can do. We're protecting them, protecting ourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
It is a great habit.
Well, to put so much effort and preparation. I mean, you've invested in thousands of students that have gone through Southern.
Yeah.
I mean, so much preparation and so much sacrifice to do the preparation for their families to go through all that and to throw it away. I just don't understand it.
Well, we're fighting a battle with, pornography that is just so rampant and so available.
Right.
And the assault of our culture.
And it's only pornography if you pay for it, right?
Yeah, right.
That's what I had a guy tell me once.
Oh, man.
I was like,
there's just not a week that goes by that I don't deal with a pastor,
right,
student, somebody in ministry that is trapped by pornography.
Right.
And it is a constant battle to keep ourselves pure.
Right.
No, we just have to. But the Lord Jesus deserves it.
Yeah.
And we have to always know that sin crouches at the door.
Right.
It's a constant battle. Well, I like to conclude all my interviews with what I call a twinkling of an eye round, and just ask some quick questions. And
I get nervous on tests. You know that.
Yeah. Well, this is just what you think. So
right.
Shouldn't take that long. All right. Favorite vacation spot?
Mexico Beach, Florida.
Do you have a sugar stick sermon?
It used to be Mexico Beach, Florida. Oh. It's not there anymore.
Oh.
The hurricane. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Do you have a sugar stick sermon?
I don't think so. I wouldn't consider mine very good.
Well, do you have so now that you
I have some I really enjoy doing more. I'm freer with some.
You don't come up with a new sermon every time you preach.
Not every time.
You're not pastor.
No.
Okay. If you could go anywhere in the world right now and take your wife, where would you go?
Oh man, it's so great. Cabo San Lucas.
Yeah, I love Cabo.
That's one of your favorite places. I know.
It is.
Cabo San Lucas.
It is one of my favorite places. What secular writer do you read? Do you like?
Good to great. I was thinking of Lencioni. A lot of the Death by Meeting, all those.
All right.
I don't know if he's a believer or not. That's why.
That's all right.
Okay.
That's why I said secular. What preacher feeds your soul to listen to?
I always loved some of the older guys with Dr. Rogers and and I mean it's just hard to. I loved him just because of
who he is.
You know, and I still have those cassette tapes, and I owe my first two pastors to Love Worth Finding.
You made me lose my question there with that one. That's a whole
not a discussion question.
That's
is
a whole other direction. Yeah. So, what pastoral leader do you want to emulate? Like, is somebody influenced you? Who?
Pastoral leader. Again, I go back to Dr. Rogers because he was just very firm, and he let me spend a day with him once, and man,
same here.
Learned so much about him.
Yeah, he could teach more.
Yeah,
I mean. And then once you knew just what to watch for him, he mentored you from a distance. You learned so much from just watching the way he did things.
Yeah.
Can you tell a key thing that you learned from him? I can tell you some things.
Oh, absolutely.
Right now.
Just how he handled people, how the people that come up after service and that sometimes are the cling a bit or want to give you something and, hey, give this back to me. And I remember him telling me, I said, no, are you giving this to me or are you letting me borrow it?
Yeah.
He said, borrow it. He said, well, then you keep it.
Yeah.
He goes, no, I want you to see it. He said, then give it to me. Which one it's going to be?
Yeah. I learned that. I learned, he told me, he said, always look at the person you're talking to. It doesn't matter if there's 20 people standing in line.
Yeah.
He said, if you do that every week, they'll all learn that they'll get their time with you if they're willing to wait.
Yeah.
But you give that person all your attention.
Yeah.
And to this day, I do that.
He was so gracious. I remember one time when I was going through a tremendous difficulty at IVU, calling on a Wednesday night. And he said, I'd be glad to come up there and talk to your deacons if you need me to. And I was like, well, thanks, Dr. Rogers. I think I got this. But
what a man.
Oh, to take time to do that.
What a man. I'm convinced that there will never be another like him. I think he was the Elijah of the last 100 years. Just nobody like him.
No, there really wasn't.
And I think our evangelicalism hurts for someone like that.
Right.
Again, the stature and the integrity and the voice of that man.
Oh, absolutely. Oh.
Well, that's not much of a twinkling of an eye around because we got sidetracked. No, that's on me, on Adrian Rogers. But what a great man. I've got to say this. I have students, when I mention Adrian Rogers, who do not even know who he was.
Oh, I know.
So I would say to any viewer out there, if you don't know who Adrian Rogers is, please Google him and watch or listen to his sermons right now.
Yeah.
Just a great man of God.
Right.
And he was in private everything he was in that pulpit.
Oh, absolutely. And just a godly
God.
You talk about a guy who pursued holiness too. I mean, my word.
Yeah, he did. Well, Kevin, I want to say this. I've been your friend for a lot of years and know you inside and out, and you're one of the men I most admire in this world. And you are a man of God, and I trust you with my life and my wife, and I'm so grateful for you. I'm grateful to be your friend, go through life with you. I'm so glad God's got you where he is. I know it takes a toll on you being president of a large organization like that and missing the pastorate, but man, God raised you up for such a time as this, and I'm grateful.
Well, thanks.
Thank you for being with me today on Pastor Well. I appreciate you much. So I want to thank all of you who listened today to Pastor Well. I hope that you will subscribe if you've not already done so on your favorite podcast app. Watch us on YouTube, and we'll see you again next time on Pastor Well.